You walk a few steps away from camp, no door, no lock, no walls. Just open ground, a patch of brush, and the open sky above you. For nearly all of human history, this wasn't strange. This was simply what going to the bathroom looked like. For roughly 300,000 years, modern humans lived without a single toilet, without a single roll of paper, without a single private stall. And yet somehow your ancestors survived, they stayed healthy, they raised children. They built entire societies on dirt floors. So how did they actually do it? Let's start with the obvious question, where did people go? The answer depends almost entirely on lifestyle. Anthropologist Richard Lee spent the 1960s living among the Jew/hoansi, a hunter-gatherer people of the Kalahari Desert in southern Africa. He documented something simple but important. Small mobile bands had no fixed toilet area at all. They simply walked away from the sleeping area, did their business, and moved on. The next day, the group often moved camp anyway. Waste didn't accumulate because people didn't stay in one place long enough for it to become a problem. That single fact changes everything about how you should picture ancient hygiene. It wasn't dirty in the way you might assume, it was distributed. Spread thin across a landscape, broken down by sun, rain, insects, and time, before anyone had to deal with it twice. But mobility wasn't the only strategy. Once humans started settling down, things had to change. Around 10,000 years ago, agriculture pulled people into permanent villages. Suddenly, you couldn't just walk away from your own waste forever. You were stuck living next to it. This is where things get interesting. Archaeological excavations at Çatalhöyük, a 9,000-year-old settlement in modern-day Turkey, reveal something telling. Researchers studying the site, including work led by archaeologist Ian Hodder, found no dedicated bathroom spaces inside the densely packed mud brick houses. Instead, evidence suggests waste was managed through middens, which are essentially designated trash and refuse heaps just outside the walls. People track their own filth deliberately away from where they slept and ate. Think about that for a second. Before plumbing, before sewage systems, your ancestors already understood a basic principle: keep waste away from food and sleep. They didn't have germ theory, they didn't know about bacteria. But they had something almost as powerful. Pattern recognition built from generations of getting sick when they didn't separate the two. Of course, not every ancient solution was this organized. Some were stranger. Sponges on sticks called tersoria were used by Romans in public latrines, shared communally and rinsed in a running trough of water. Multiple people, one sponge, one trough. It sounds horrifying today. But to the Romans, it was simply civic infrastructure, no different from sharing a public water fountain. And the Romans loved their toilets. Public latrines often sat dozens of users side by side. No partitions, no privacy, sometimes with mosaic floors and decorative columns. Going to the bathroom was social, people chatted. Business deals were rumored to have happened mid-sitting. Privacy, as you understand it today, simply wasn't part of the equation. So when did privacy become the standard? Not as early as you'd think. For most of human history, in most parts of the world, bathroom activity happened in shared, semi-public, or fully public spaces. Medieval European castles often had garderobes, small stone chutes built into outer walls that allowed waste to drop directly into a moat or pit below. Efficient, yes, private only relatively. Servants, guards, and family members frequently knew the schedule of the household. Now picture a single morning in a hunter-gatherer band roughly 50,000 years ago. The sun is just rising over the savannah. A woman wakes before her children, walks a short distance from the sleeping area, finds a patch of grass away from the water source and finishes quickly. She rejoins the group as the fire is being rekindled. No conversation about it, no embarrassment, no specialized tools. Just a normal biological function, treated with the same casualness as breathing. This is the part that should genuinely surprise you. The shame, the secrecy, the need for total isolation behind a locked door, none of that is hardwired into human psychology. It's cultural. Anthropologist Polly Wiesner's research on social behavior among the Jew/hoansi highlights how openness, And shared visibility were the norm in daily camp life, not the exception. Privacy as we define it is a relatively recent invention, tightly linked to permanent architecture, dense populations, and shifting social norms around the body. Here's the twist. You might assume that ancient humans, lacking modern sanitation, were constantly sick from poor waste management. In small, mobile groups, that often wasn't true. Disease transmission from human waste tends to explode in dense, settled populations, not sparse, nomadic ones. Once agriculture concentrated people into villages and cities, proximity to waste actually became more dangerous, not less. Settling down solved some problems, it created brand new ones. That's the counterintuitive part. The primitive hunter-gatherer system, walk away, let nature handle it, move camp regularly, was in some ways safer than the early, crowded cities that followed. Civilization didn't necessarily start cleaner. In many cases, it started messier. And humans spent thousands of years engineering solutions, middens, latrines, garderobes, sewage channels, just to catch up to a problem their own settlements created. Eventually, of course, things improved. Roman sewer systems, like the Cloaca Maxima, moved waste away from city centers using gravity and engineering. But even that marvel wasn't private. It was communal infrastructure built for a society that hadn't yet decided bathroom activity needed to be hidden. So where does that leave you? Every time you close a door, flush a toilet, and expect total privacy, you're participating in one of the newest habits in the entire history of your species. Not ancient, not universal, just recent. Your ancestors didn't need a locked door to feel safe doing something every human body has always done. They needed open space, a moving camp, and a community that simply didn't make it a big deal. You walk a few steps away from your daily routine, into a small room with a door, a lock, and complete privacy. For you, this isn't strange either. It's simply what going to the bathroom looks like now.